So yesterday at around 9 p.m. it hit me that I'm leaving for New York for a 2.5-week trip in 10 days. And I am not as far along in my TBR for this month as I wanted to be. I know that as soon as I get on that plane, the rest of the month is kind of questionable in terms of how my reading is gonna go, because I'm not on vacation. I'm there doing a wedding and there's a lot of stuff I have to do. So the likelihood that I'm gonna get a ton read while I'm there, debatable. Also, my husband is on a work trip this whole week, and the past 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, I was reading a lot, but I didn't necessarily film anything. So I thought it would be fun to do a 48-hour readathon while he's still away. So I'm not doing like a 24-hour readathon thing where I don't sleep. I am definitely still gonna sleep, but the only real rule I have for myself here is to be either reading a physical book or listening to an audiobook basically as much as humanly possible throughout the next 2 days. So I figured that this would be a good way to hopefully knock out a couple of books that are either TBR books or things I need to read for book club. Just get a couple of books read in a concentrated period of time, because I really don't have much else to do. I've already gotten a lot of my packing done. I'm working through my cleaning to-do list. I have some meal prep to do, things like that. But I can be doing those things while I'm audiobooking as well. So I'm currently reading Flesh and Blood by N. West Moss, which was on my TBR for this month. I'm about 60 pages in, but it's a pretty short read since the pages are like pretty little. So I should be able to finish this one today, hopefully. And the next book I need to pick up is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. This book has been on my TBR forever, but I also have a book club in about a week that I need to have this read for. So I need to make sure and get that started, because even though it's not like a super long book, the pages are like super packed with text and the text is really small. So it might take me like slightly longer to get through this one. So I need to get started on that. And then as for audiobooks, I have 2 audiobooks downloaded on Libby right now that I am thinking of reading for this challenge. And the first one is A Good and Happy Girl by Marissa Higgins. This is only like a 7-hour audiobook, so that shouldn't be terrible to get through. And then I also have this one called Unlikable Female Characters, which has been on my TBR for a while as well. So those are the 2 books that I'm gonna try to focus on audio. I should be able to get through both of them if I'm listening to them like all throughout the days. Also, I usually listen to audiobooks on like 1.75 speed, so it tends to go a little bit faster. But yeah, these are the physical books that I'm going to attempt to finish, and then those were the audiobooks. So yeah. Okay, side note, I started this month out by reading 4 books at the same time, and it took me until the past couple of days to actually finish anything, but I did end up finishing like 4 or 5 books within a couple of days span, because I had just started so many things at once and was like a percentage of the way through each of them. So I had a goal of like reading through all the library books that I had before I left. So I have this massive stack of library books that I need to return and make sure that they get back to where they're supposed to be before I get on a plane. So I am going to start my audiobook, head to the library and drop these off, and then I'm going to probably go for a walk since it's really beautiful out. It's actually been really hot the past couple of days, like in the 80s or in the like high 70s, which is insane for March. Not really for here, but it still feels insane for my like New York standards. But yeah, that is the plan, and I'm going to listen to my audiobook and go to the park. Okay, so it is about 12:20 and I am 25% of the way through A Good Happy Girl by Marissa Higgins. So far it's really weird. I don't really know where this is headed, but it is super weird. So I am kind of hooked a little bit onto it because it is so strange. I really want to know what the heck's going on. But I just had some lunch and I think I'm gonna sit outside a bit and take a break from this and start reading a little bit more of my physical book. So I'm gonna read some of Flesh and Blood and try to make some progress in that while it's lovely outside. I'm gonna sit on the porch swing and enjoy this. So yeah, that is the plan for now. Do you want to go outside? Yeah, you do? Okay. Please excuse the stuffiness that you might hear in my voice. I don't think I'm getting sick, but the allergies have been insane since it's like 80 degrees or 70 something degrees. So now that it's starting to be spring, my allergies are just losing their minds. So anyway, I have reached the halfway point in Flesh and Blood. I'm around page 140, and so far I find it really interesting. It's the author's memoir, specifically as it relates to her hysterectomy and her history of infertility, miscarriages, and her feelings surrounding that, and how she connects with other people who have experienced similar things, and finding her meaning and ability to still feel like a woman even if she loses that part of herself. So it is really, really interesting. I've never read a book that is quite like this. I've read a lot of books about women's bodies and experiences, but not about this specific type of experience or from a middle-aged woman. So it is really, really great, and I'm moving through it relatively quickly. Oh, I forgot to mention what time it is. It is 1:45, so it's been about an hour of me sitting and reading and listening to my audiobook a little bit more. I'm at 30% in the book, still feeling similarly that it's just pretty weird. But yeah, that is my progress at 1:45. So I think I'm just gonna continue this for a little bit, and I will check in with you when I have something else to say. Okay people, it is 3:10 and I have just completed Flesh and Blood. It was really, really good. I really liked it. It is just a really honest and vulnerable look at the author's experience with hysterectomy and her recovery and all of the ways in which she was processing that experience. And also, this book had so much to do with mothers and daughters. She talked about how her mom came to help her recover, and also talked a lot about her grandmother and the relationships with all the women in her family. And it was just really nice to see that lineage kind of talked about. Hi. Recently, actually, I've been talking to my family members a lot more about their experiences with menstruation, with menopause, with labor, childbirth, all of that, because I feel like this is such a quintessential part of our experience as women, and it's just now starting to get talked about more, which is so amazing. But also knowing that there is this collective experience, even though all of our experiences are a bit different, there is this collective experience of womanhood that it just makes me feel so connected to humanity at large, not just to my family members. So this book definitely reminded me of that, and I was thinking a lot about the experiences of my female family members, and that was really cool. So really, really great book. I feel like I read it pretty quickly. I read the last 160 pages in a little over an hour, which is a really good reading rate. Obviously, this is a very small book, but it was interesting to see how quickly I got through it, just because I was kind of paying attention to the time a little bit more. But yeah, since this is a pretty, small book, I was able to read 160 pages in the hour, like a little over an hour. So it was really, really good, and I'm really happy that I read it. So that is one book down. And now I think that I am going to just focus on the audiobook for a little bit, because my goal for today was to kind of read the 2 shorter books and then tomorrow see how much I can get through the longer books. I think I may run into Friday morning, because technically 48 hours for today started at like 11 something. So I am probably going to run a little bit into Friday morning, since I am headed to Wichita to meet up with Sean and do some errands and get my hair cut and things like that. So I may bring you along for that. But anyway, I was thinking about, since today was a little bit of a quote unquote shorter day, since I got a late start this morning, I would try to knock out the shorter books. So my plan is to finish the last 4 hours and 45 minutes of A Good Happy Girl, and I'm listening to it on 1.5, so it should go a little bit quicker than that. But at this point, I feel like there are some things that I need to get done today besides read, so I am going to be continuing to listen to my audiobook while I work on some things. So I'm just consulting my planner to figure out what are the next things that I need to work on. So it looks like what I can do is set up the little tablet laptop thing that my husband cleared out for me so I can use it on the trip. So I need to just log into things and make sure everything works for that. And then I also have to write a card for the wedding I'm attending and doing flowers for in New York, get that packed up. And then I can probably also clean the bathroom, which I won't film, but that's another thing that I'll probably be doing while I'm listening to the audiobook. And then tomorrow I need to work on dialing in a new coffee. Probably gonna do that tomorrow morning when I make coffee. I don't feel like making coffee again this late. But I do need to dial in this coffee on my hand grinder. So what I mean by dialing in is basically figuring out what grind size makes the most sense and what tastes the best. So I already have a grind size setting that works really, really well for my grinder that I keep at the house. But I have a little hand grinder that I take on the go. So I want to see if I can get the grind size and the drain time for the coffee about the same for both and do some tasting. So that's on the docket for tomorrow. And then I can go ahead and pack up that coffee stuff. Oh, and the other thing I need to do is put in my Walmart order to pick up tomorrow because I have 1 more week's worth of stuff to get from the store before I leave. So I've already meal planned and gotten that all set up, and I just need to put in that order. So that is what is on the to-do list, and I think I'm going to just sit here for a little bit and complete those sitting down tasks while I listen to my audiobook, and then I will take a break from filming and clean the bathroom. So that is the plan. So before I completely lose my light, it is 7:15 and I have completed A Good Happy Girl, which is pretty impressive because that means I completed 2 books today, one of which I hadn't started at all, and the other one I had only gotten to page 70. So I feel like that's a pretty good readathon day 1. Just having finished it a few minutes ago, I don't know that I can formulate critical thought around it, but it also feels like a book that I'm not going to have critical thoughts about. I was just there for the experience and along for the ride, and I don't even know what to say about it. So if I didn't explain what it's about, it is about this woman named Helen whose parents are in prison for elder neglect of her father's mother. And she is sort of left to pick up the pieces from that and deal with her parents being in prison. Also, her grandmother survived and is in a home, so she's visiting her grandmother. And she also has trauma associated with losing her little brother. So she's got really messed up family dynamics. And she is lesbian, and she goes on, they don't say what dating app, but a dating app, and basically is trying to be part of another couple's relationship as a third. So she meets these wives and is trying to earn their favor and figure out how to be the kind of person that they want her to be. It's just kind of toxic, the way that she is behaving and the way that the wives are behaving, and everybody's manipulating everybody else. And it's clear that Helen is not in a state to be, you know, engaging in this type of relationship. She's like guzzling cough syrup. Like it's a mess. So it's like peak unlikable, unreliable main character vibes. So not that I take Goodreads as gospel, but in this situation, I do agree. The average rating is 2.92, and I'm somewhere between 2 and 3 stars. I haven't figured out, you know, exactly what I'm gonna rate it yet on Goodreads, but I just felt like this book was really self-indulgent and not in a way that I typically enjoy with weird women books. I've definitely read quite a few weird women books with queer protagonists, and I think that there are a lot of books that do it better than this one. I couldn't find myself caring about the main character. I thought that the other characters were kind of insufferable, and I just struggled to feel like I could identify with her at all. And usually with like unlikable main characters, obviously we feel like, ew, they're weird or something, right? But there's usually, especially with women, I feel like there's something underlying that's like, oh, I can understand that. And if we all were as untamed as this woman is, then we might do some crazy stuff too. So I don't feel like I felt that way with this one, and like that is my experience and my personal feelings. So like if you felt differently and you've read this book, like totally okay. But personally, I just didn't find it to be my favorite weird woman book, and I'm disappointed because I had thought that this book sounded really good, and I was hoping that it would also have more to do with consumption because of the cover. But really it was like part of it. Like there were some times where she was forced to eat something, or, you know, was consuming cough syrup or things like that. So like some of it is about consumption, but I was really hoping for more focus on that element of the story. So just totally personal opinion here, but this was not one of my favorites, and it seems like the people of Goodreads concur with my assessment. Disappointing second read, but my first read of the day was really enjoyable. I think I would give that 3.5 to 4 stars, just because it wasn't like, you know, revolutionary, but I think I would give it 4 stars, to be honest. So yeah, overall a pretty good readathon day 1. But yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night for reading, since I've been literally reading all day, and I know that's the point of a readathon. I just feel like I don't really want to start a new book this late, just because I feel like I'm not gonna like be paying attention. So we'll start fresh tomorrow. I'm gonna watch a little bit of Law and Order SVU. I'm on season 24, and I'm basically just trying to like get through the end of it so that I can like watch the crossover episodes between Organized Crime and SVU, and I'm almost there. So that's another goal of mine, is to complete season 24 of SVU and season 3 of Law & Order Organized Crime by the time I leave, just so that I'm not like, you know, halfway through a season when I leave and can't watch it for like 2.5 weeks. So anyway, that was a massive yap session, but I just wanted to update you on all of the things and sign off for the night. So I'm going to watch my show, and I will see you in the morning. Good morning. I'm here with my couple of coffees to taste the difference between when I use the hand grinder and when I use the automatic grinder, and I can definitely taste the difference. So So the brew drained slower on the automatic grinder and faster with the hand grinder. So that means that the grind size is not quite the same, or the distribution of fine particles is not the same, which some of that I can't necessarily change because the hand grinder is just of lower quality. So I can't necessarily fix that. What I'm tasting is that the one from the automatic grinder is a lot more complex and a lot more floral and fruity. There's a lot more going on to that. And then this one tastes a little bit flat. Like there's an underdeveloped quality to it, almost papery, even though I did rinse my filters. So it looks like I need to try one more time, probably in a couple of days, and make my grind size a little bit finer. It's not terrible, it's just not as good as this one, and I definitely want like the best possible experience, so I have to do a couple more tests. My next step is to make this one a little bit finer and taste it again. But yeah, that is my little coffee experiment. Okay, while I sit here and drink the good brew, I just want to talk a little bit about today's itinerary and my progress with A Certain Hunger. So I told you guys last night that I was not gonna read any. That wasn't true. I ended up picking this up. I got 2 chapters into it. My cat is losing her fucking mind. I got 2 chapters into A Certain Hunger and it is insane so far. I am kind of obsessed with it. I cannot wait to continue reading it. I just really like the point of view and the like breaking the fourth wall that happens. Because the character is writing from a prison cell and is writing directly to us as the readers, and speaks about how she presumes we've already heard about the case and have seen documentaries about it, and she wants to tell her true story because we've probably all heard about the case before. And it's just really fun in that way. I love like reading true crime stuff and hearing about people's crimes from their own perspectives. It's really fascinating stuff. And yes, this is fiction, but it is playing with that concept, and I am really, really obsessed with that. So yeah, that is my progress with A Certain Hunger. I'm gonna continue reading this and start listening to unlikable female characters. On the docket today is I need to run out and get my grocery order from Walmart, put all that stuff away, go for a walk. Other than that, I don't think I have a ton of stuff to work on at the moment. Oh, the other thing was I just have to paint my nails tonight, so that's the other thing. But super chill day, just a couple of errands and reading. So that is the plan. Okay, so a little update while I eat my lunch, which I made a homemade acai bowl with the last of my favorite granola. So it is almost 12:15 and I have gotten almost 3 hours into the audiobook for Unlikable Female Characters, which is around 25%. And I have almost completed the brief history of unlikable female characters section. And we go all the way back to when silent films were actually going out of style. And now I'm in like the 60s and 70s section. And even though it wasn't quite what I was anticipating, for some reason, I am really enjoying it so far. With me being 25% in, I think I'm going to take a break once I reach the end of this section to read some of A Certain Hunger. I think it's unlikely that I'm gonna finish both of these books today just from how I'm progressing so far. Being 3 hours into this, I basically had this on since I started filming this morning. So yeah, I'm making good progress, but I may not finish both of these things today. But yeah, I'm gonna finish up my lunch and listen to the book, and then I will start doing some more physical reading. Okay, so I'm just waiting for my dinner to be done, and I wanted to give a little update because I haven't filmed in a couple of hours. Part of that is because I was on the phone with my best friend for quite a while doing a book discussion for a book that we finished earlier in the week. So no shade, that was an awesome discussion, but I spent a bit of time doing that. But I did make some progress in both books. So I am now 40% of the way through Unlikable Female Characters, and I just finished the Mean Girl section, which was really, really interesting, and obviously talked about the movie Mean Girls, which has such nostalgia, but it also just talked about some other similar kind of films, talked about 10 Things I Hate About You and similar kind of things in the 90s and 80s, which was super, super fun. So I'm really, really enjoying the references that she's making and also the critical analysis of each one of the movies, and also the general like social things that were going on that created an environment for those kind of films. That puts me at about 4 hours and 30 minutes into this audiobook. So definitely don't think I'm gonna finish it today, but I did make some good progress so far. And then for A Certain Hunger, I have reached chapter 7, which is page 76. I really like it so far. I'm actually annotating and tabbing, but I'm not really writing notes in the book at the moment because there's really no space to do so. But I need to start taking some notes on the side for my book club. So I'm probably gonna start doing that as I'm reading. That also makes, you know, the time slower as I'm reading because I'm like underlining and tabbing and stuff. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I picked, you know, a tab that was like neutral for this cover that matched. I always try to match. But yeah, I really, really like this. We're hearing a lot right now about her childhood, or like her time as a teenager in her early 20s when she moves to New York City, and we're hearing about the nightlife there and also some things with her parents and her mom, so getting some backstory on her. I'm noticing a couple of things in this book that I have highlighted and I think I want to write notes about, specifically the usage of food metaphors and the usage of animal metaphors. So there are several passages in this book, even so far, that use animals as comparisons to humans or comparisons to ideas. I definitely feel like the food metaphors were expected because she was a food critic, the character. But the animal metaphors are really interesting, and I'm still trying to work out where she's going with that. Obviously, there's some conversations around consumption, the animalistic nature of this person. So there's a lot there that I can, you know, continue to unpack as I'm going through the book, but I just wanted to mention that. The writing is possibly pretentious, and just the, you know, the word choice, the diction that she's using. There's been a couple of words where I'm like, I don't know what that means, but for the most part, I'm really, really liking the language. And I think that her being kind of pretentious and kind of like aloof in the way that she's speaking really fits the character. And it also just feels very like Hannibal Lecter coded, in the sense that she is a murderous, cannibalistic person who is educated, very highbrow, you know, pretentious kind of person. So it does feel like she's like a female Hannibal Lecter. So I'm excited to see how that progresses. But I'm having so much fun with this. I haven't read a book like this, possibly ever exactly like this, but not in a long time have I read like a horror thriller type of book. And I'm just having so much fun, and I'm realizing that I need to find some more like weird women horror to enjoy, because it's just such a fun thing to fall into. And I feel like when I get started in one of those books, I can't put it down. I also think that the combination of this and Unlikable Female Characters is just perfect. Like, I feel like I'm making connections between the two as I go. I think that some of the ideas that the other book is talking about are just really fitting in, tying in nicely with this book. So I'm just having fun reading them together. And yeah, I think I picked like a perfect, you know, book and audiobook combination there. So anyway, that was my very rambly, yappy update for now, but I'm going to grab my dinner. I think I'm gonna continue listening to my audiobook a little bit and paint my nails when I'm done with my dinner. So that's the plan. Okay, so it's gotten significantly darker, but my nails are done and dried pretty much. They're still like in that stage where if you like bump them, they'll smudge all over the place, but they are not tacky anymore. So let's see if you can see them. I did this green polish. I think it's really pretty. Yeah, I really like it. I haven't worn this one in a while. I've been doing a lot of neutral colors recently. So I figured since it's springy outside, I would do some green for my day out tomorrow. So I'm gonna continue to not really do anything with my hands, but I think I'm going to watch a little bit of TV because honestly, my brain is a little bit readinged out. So as for my progress, I made it 59% of the way through this audiobook today. I finished 6 hours and 39 minutes so far, and I have 4 hours and 45 minutes to go. So Olive is here now. Hopefully I don't smudge my nails by petting her. But yeah, I made it almost 7 hours into this audiobook, which I think is pretty good. I will be able to finish this book tomorrow morning if I listen to it in the car, because I have a 2-hour drive and I'm listening to this faster than I typically do. I'm listening to it on 2.0. And I have, like I said, 4 hours and 45 minutes. So I should be able to get most of it done on the car ride there. And if not, I have the car ride back as well. So Olive is really wanting attention right now. Hi, baby. Hi. So yeah, that is pretty much my update for now. I'm going to spend a little bit of time watching my show and then possibly read a little bit more of A Certain Hunger before bed, even though this book is really not conducive for before bed or winding down, but I will probably read a little bit of that just so that the last thing I look at is not a screen today. That is pretty much the plan. So yeah, I'm gonna, pay attention to Olive so she doesn't drink my water as she was trying to do. I see you. And yeah, I will update you tomorrow. Good morning. It is 8:30 a.m. on Friday, and I only have a couple hours left for this readathon, and most of it is going to be spent driving. So to give you the update, I have made it 80% of the way through Unlikable Female Characters. I'm 9 hours in. I have 2 hours left. So I did listen to this a little bit more last night, and this morning I've been listening to it as I've been getting ready, and I'm probably going to finish it on my car ride today. I am bringing A Certain Hunger with me to read a little bit because I'm going to stop at a coffee shop this morning and get some reading done there, hopefully. So all hope is not lost for that, though I know I'm not going to finish it since I'm only 80 pages into it. So that's pretty much the situation right now. I'm going to pack up my car and get on the road. Okay, apologies for the awkward angle and that you can see the top of my steering wheel. However, I wanted to give a little update because I'm here in Wichita and I have a couple of books that I just got since I had some rewards at Barnes & Noble. So I got a couple of books, and I also finished Unlikable Female Characters, which I really, really enjoyed. I thought that it was interesting through and through, but I really liked the discussion of Promising Young Woman, which is a film that I absolutely love. They also talked about all of Gillian Flynn's books and the film or TV show adaptations. So there were just a lot of references that I really enjoyed throughout the book, and I just found it super, super interesting. So I really liked that. I finished that, but I want to show you the books that I got. Okay, so I got a new release, and this was pretty expensive, but I think it's going to be worth it. It is Careless People by Sarah Wynne Williams, which is essentially a expose/memoir about her time at Facebook and /Meta. After reading Exit Interview recently by Christy Coulter, which is like a memoir/expose on Amazon, I desperately need this type of content. I was obsessed with Exit Interviews, so this just feels like the perfect next read. So I'm probably going to pick this up like pretty quickly, even though I have like lots of other stuff on my TBR that I need to be doing. But this one I'm really excited about. And then I also got The Story of Jane, the Legendary Underground Feminist Abortion Service by Laura Kaplan. This one I have seen all over the place and just think it's going to be really, really interesting. It is from 1995, so it's a bit of an older release for me, what I normally do, but there's also an audio version at the library, so I can kind of use it in tandem, and I do think I'm going to really love this, so I ended up picking up a copy. I got those two books. I'm really excited about both of them. Probably going to be reading them both pretty soon. And with that, I'm gonna go have some lunch. Okay, this is my final update for today because it has been 48 hours. If you cannot tell, I got my hair cut and I am super, super excited because I have my mini bangs back, I have my shag layers back. Super happy with it. It's extremely windy here, so if you can hear the wind, just ignore that. But I am here waiting for my husband now, and yeah, I'm just super happy with how my hair turned out. I love the shag, and it had grown out for like 6 months, so I'm really just happy to have my layers back. That being said, I reached page 105 in A Certain Hunger while I was sitting at the coffee shop reading, and I'm on about to start chapter 9, which is called Banana Bread. Yeah, I got past page 100, and that was kind of as much of a goal for this book as I thought I was going to achieve, just because I knew that I was going to take more time with this. But yeah, I think that was a pretty successful 48-hour readathon. I read 3 books in their entirety and then read 100 pages of A Certain Hunger. So I feel like that is a very productive 48 hours of reading and a really good use of this readathon vlog. So I'm really happy with that, even though I didn't finish the 4 books. But yeah, I had so much fun filming this video, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.